8-year assault on your Second Amendment freedoms has come to a crashing end. I like taking the guns early. Take the guns first, go through due process second.
Well, I say go fuck yourself. Then ask a question, could I kill a man? I would enjoy myself. You can't disguise the evil eyes that burn a hole in my head. This devil man and his master plan, we feel so misled, so I say, rise up, take all back, rise up, take it all back. Hope you all understand. We got to take it all back again.
These people are not going to take it any longer. We will never give up. We will never concede. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. But go home and go home in peace. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. You do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
Hello, I know, I got it. But now there's an echo. So we got it working. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? What's up, Gerald? What's up? Broken Patriots in the house. How you doing, dude? Hopefully everybody can hear me now, which is good. Okay, I got to clean out my C drive. And then I was looking at the entrance for this, and I was like, man, I really do need to change that. There's so much more important shit than the mask mandate that he made. All right. Thank you very much for your patience. I do appreciate it. What's up, Broken Patriot? Okay, loud and clear. Cool. Other than that, how's your day been going, Broken Patriot? I hope all is well. I haven't checked my subscription. You know what? Before I even start, let me go make sure I'm subscribed to you on this channel because I don't think I am. I really don't use this channel much, except for when this stuff happens. There we go. You got an extra sub, bruh. 1.51 subs. 1,000 subs. Nice. Oh, yeah. Sketchy Papa John's. Oh, shit. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I want to see the Sketchy Papa John's. All right.
You got like 30 seconds.
Sketchiest Papa John's
Show the sign.
ever.
Show the sign.
I am.
No, over there. Where it says locally owned and operated.
Wait a minute. Is that your wife?
Pizza in the front, drugs in the back.
Wait,
That
what?
thing's sketchy as hell.
Why is it sketch?
You got
I don't understand why it's so sketch.
Sketchiest Papa John's
This has to be the worst
Show
Papa
the
John's
sign.
ever.
Show the sign.
I am.
No, over there. Where it says locally owned and operated. It says pizza in the front, drugs in the back.
They
That
selling
thing's
stuff there?
sketchy as hell.
It is like no windows, at least not on that side, but I don't know. I didn't see the whole thing. And then you did some live streams. All right, cool. I need to figure out how to bet my hard drive to work in my new PC with the SSD. You have an SSD hard drive? If you have, that would be probably on your motherboard. There's probably a hookup for that. If not, I'm not exactly sure. Because it's all dark and gray. Yeah, I didn't see any windows. Is there any windows on the other side? You know, you'd think that there'd be windows somewhere on a Papa John's. But, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't gone to a Papa John's in a long fucking time. I do like the pepperoncinis. That's like the best part of Papa John's is the pepperoncinis. All right, so we should be getting some rain today. It's from a hurricane that happened in Mexico, not Ida, but a different one. I don't even remember the name of it. But we did have some rain yesterday or last night, and supposed to get some later today. What's up, Bikes and Bullets? You got here early. I saw your message as I was exiting out yesterday, but it is what it is, man. I can't just be like, well, sorry guys, we're not gonna end this until Bikes comes in, tells us something homophobic, and then bounces out. I'm just kidding. It is the kind that looks like a circuit board, or is it the tiny box hard drive? Oh yeah, there is a difference. So if it looks like a little circuit board, like maybe a memory stick, then that would go on your actual motherboard. And if it is a little box of black or gray or whatever, that would be something that would hook up to your motherboard, but wouldn't attach to it. Hope that helps. By the way, before we get started, Riddle wrote all over this so that we don't forget it. But I did get my my replacement bit. It's funny, they said, well, thank you for your order when I ordered it, right? And they're like, hey, and we already shipped it. I was like, oh, cool, that was quick, you know. And I go check my shipping, and obviously it's just a created label so far, hasn't left the door. I'm like, all right, I'll check back tomorrow or the next day. And so I did. I checked back 2 days later, and it was still just a shipping label. And then a week later, I'm like, it's still just a shipping label. I finally contacted their customer support on their email, which they never responded to. They don't have a phone number that works. Yeah. And so I'm glad to have gotten it. But the tracking is, well, I didn't check it, before today, but the tracking had never updated when I did check it. So that's cool. The AR10 project can move forward, so that'll be fun. What's up, Quantum? How you doing? We're just about to start. We already looked at a sketchy Papa John's. And Broken Patriot, what's up, brah? How you doing? Sounds like your wife is still hanging with you, so that's good. Okay, McCarthy warns telecom companies not to help House Dems spy on the GOP rivals. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy threatened to take action against telecommunications companies that comply with the Democrats' January 6th commission and its attempt to surveil Republican communications. The Democrat-controlled House Select Committee on the 6th reportedly asked several companies to preserve the records of Republican lawmakers who attempted the Stop the Steal rally ahead of the U.S. Capitol event, just in case Democrats decided to subpoena them. Democrats specifically requested the records of outspoken GOP Trump backers, including Major Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Jim Jordan of Ohio, Andy Biggs of Arizona, Paul Gosar of Arizona, and Mo Brooks of Alabama. McCarthy accused the Democrats of using the Sixth Committee to create a surveillance state within Congress to spy on members of the opposite political party. This is dangerous. I mean, this is, as I've said it before, they're going after each other, which I believe happened right before the Civil War in a different way. But they were accusing each other a lot back then of being traitors and shit. Adam Schiff, Benny Thompson, and Nancy Pelosi attempts to strong-arm private companies to turn over individuals' private data would put every American with a phone or a computer in the crosshairs of a surveillance state run by a Democrat politician. Duh. You've been carrying around a tracking device in your pocket for a long time. Today I went to the gym, and I'm like, I take my phone to the gym because my membership is on the phone and it's just easy. And they never, the last time we'd gotten a membership over there, they gave us like a little key fob card or whatever that you'd scan. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But now it's on my phone. So now I have to take my phone with me. I might see if they can give me an old school one, because the more I don't have to take my phone with me, the better, in my opinion. If these companies comply with the Democratic order to turn over private information, they are in violation of federal law and subject to losing their ability to operate in the United States, he continued. If they pursue this path, a Republican majority will not forget and will be ready to hold them fully accountable under the law. The January 6th committee responded to McCarthy and admitted that it did ask telecommunication companies to not destroy records that may help answer questions for the American people. The committee's effort, let's see, January 6th committee. Oh, they have their own Twitter feed. What? The committee's efforts won't be deterred by those who want to whitewash or cover up the events of the 6th or obstruct their investigation. Adam Schiff, Bernie Thompson, Nancy Pelosi attempts to strong-arm private companies. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so that's what we already read. McCarthy warns. What's he going to do? Use harsher language? Pretty much. I mean, I guess he's saying that once the Republicans get in office, they're going to do something about it. But if I know Republicans, they ain't going to do a damn thing when they're in power. They're going to bitch about it and say, well, you got to reelect us if you want us to do anything about it next time. The whole Section 230 still is a bitter pill to swallow. The guy got on TV and was asked about Section 230 because people on YouTube are getting banned and striked and all that shit. Same reason why I'm on this channel and not on my main channel. And the guy, with all the evidence of what was going on with Trump and Trump being taken off of Twitter and all this stuff, the guy says, well, you have to reelect us for us to do anything about Section 230. I'm like, dude, you're in charge right now. Right now you're in charge with a president that will sign it. But you decided to say that you need to reelect us, knowing full well that Trump was on record saying that this was going to be the most honest election in all of history. Apparently he didn't get the memo. All right. Newsoms Outrageous. The Supreme Court allows Texas abortion ban to stand. I have no idea why he gives a shit about what happens in Texas. He should be more concerned about what's happening with him, because it looks like Larry Elders is going to walk away with the governorship unless they pull some shit out. Gavin Newsom was furious as over Texas' recent ban of all abortions after 6 weeks, according to the press release from his office. I am outraged that the U.S. Supreme Court has allowed Texas' ban on most abortions to take effect, he complained. Silently, in the dead of night, the Supreme Court has eviscerated the fundamental protection of women's right to choose that Roe v. Wade has protected for the last 20 years. Is that the guy who ran away like a little girl from the dog hunt? That's funny. Newsom joined pro. Hold on one second, guys. He's very curious and looking inside since it's a little dark outside. They can see inside, so I just wanted to close the blinds. In my honest opinion, it's past time to stop paying attention to these child and mind criminals masquerading as Yeah, you and me both. And that brings me to yesterday's story about the guy who shot up the synagogue, saying that he's not conservative because conservatives only talk and talk but never do anything. And he was tired of that. So he ain't wrong. The comments from that guy, even though I disagree with him on about everything, he ain't wrong. Until you're ready, a lot of people are ready to get up and do something and risk their life or risk their jail, their freedom and being put in jail, nothing's going to change. Now, he was just one crazy guy, but what are we all waiting on? We're waiting on a state or a leader, somebody that's already in the swamp to tell us it's okay to fight. All right. Newsom joined hold up. Yeah, okay. Newsom joined abortion activists in attacking the high court for permitting the pro-life victory while seeming to cast aside the controversial Roe v. Wade's decision in the first place. This is a de facto overturning of Roe before the Supreme Court has time to hear the Mississippi case, said Planned Parenthood President Alexis Johnson, and Texas will now go back to being a pre-Roe state, turning the clock back 50 years. Well, you know what? There's worse things that's happened in the world than that. Unlike its activist predecessors who imposed the abortion right, however, the current Supreme Court did not need to overturn any judicial precedents. Rather, it simply allowed the state law to take effect. Newsom, who recently invited the nation's homeless to relocate in California in advance of his September 14th recall, he's hoping that the homeless will vote, I guess. I mean, everybody got sent out a voting thing, whether they asked for it or not. Appeared to make a small pitch to pregnant women seeking to escape the consequences of their actions. He said the state would continually to actively fund abortions using tax dollars and promised to expand abortion even further. In California, we will ensure that a woman continues to have access to critical health care services, including abortion. And California will continue to lead the nation in expanding access to reproductive and sexual health care. You got to love reproductive health care. That's what abortion is nowadays, is reproductive health care. He further dedicated himself to providing and promoting abortions in the future by selecting leftist judges. I will continue to appoint judges and justices who faithfully follow the Constitution. You know, the whole right to kill an unborn baby in my body. I'm sure that was in the Constitution somewhere. And unlike his disappointing inaction from the high court, he wrote. Okay. Newsom's last-ditch appeal to abortion-loving women comes as his own poll numbers continue to drop precipitously due to unconstitutional lockdowns, which led to homelessness and crime. Newsom's media allies on the left have attempted to smear his top challenger in the recall race, conservative media Larry Elder, as being sexist and abusive. Really. Others have attacked Elder, who is black, as a racist. Yeah, well, of course. You can't be racist if you're black. That's the whole thing, though. I was told that. Because you're not in a position of power, so therefore you're not allowed to be, you can't, I mean, it's impossible for a black person to be racist. Including the Los Angeles Times, which declared him the blackface of white supremacy. Well, Larry Elders, I mean, it's a white name, so maybe it's just a white dude in blackface all these years. Other countries are even commenting on how inept Biden is. You got a YouTube link, Riddle? Oh, we're definitely going to be getting to that. Oh, Sky News. Okay. Let me put that over here. Top FDA official resigns in protest over Biden's push for booster shots. 2 top FDA officials are resigning over disagreements with the Biden administration's attempt to push through the sniffle booster shots prematurely. The agency announced this week that Dr. Marion Gruber, director of FDA's Office in Sniffle Shot Research and Review, and her deputy, Dr. Philip Krause, will be stepping down this fall. Employees familiar with the decision said that they were upset that the White House rolled out a plan to provide booster shots before the FDA had approved them. Others noted Gruber and Krause were also upset that their boss, Dr. Peter Marks, was allowing the Biden administration to bypass the FDA's oversight responsibilities. Well, I'm sure the FDA can create a law that will make, Biden heal. Politico reported 2 officials' departure had triggered a mutiny in the FDA from employees who agreed Biden is jumping the gun. The rest of the agency is scrambling to analyze the available data supporting the use of boosters, the outlet said. Biden announced this week that he wants fully shotted adults to get booster shots every 5 months starting September 20th. Told you it wasn't going to be one and done. You're going to have to be getting these shots for a long time, and that mRNA is going to be working overtime. However, scientists who have advised the FDA's shot approval process said its push for booster shots is premature and unnecessary since there's not enough evidence proving booster shots are effective. It was the administration's booster plan. It wasn't the FDA's boosters plan, said Paul Offit, a University of Pennsylvania infectious disease expert who sits on the FDA's Sniffle Shot Advisory Committee. The administration has kind of backed themselves up against the wall a little bit here. Acting FDA Commissioner Janet Woodcock sent a memo to regulators Tuesday standing by the booster timeline. The issues are complex, the days are long, Woodcock said, but please know the work you have all done to date and will continue to do in the days, weeks, months ahead will hopefully one day allow us to put sniffles behind us and better prepare us for future challenges. Wow. Yes, I've seen a few other videos saying the same thing. Sad it's true. Well, no, we have slipped. We are no longer feared. the whole thing with Afghanistan, countries lost a lot of opinion of America in the last 6 months. Could Biden's last call to the Afghan president Ghani trigger impeachment? I don't know. Probably not, because don't you need a majority in one of the houses in order to have an impeachment trial, or no? I think they impeached Trump without a majority, didn't they? Could be wrong. President Biden held a July 23rd phone call with then Afghan president that bore eerie similarities for some about the quid pro quo circumstances that led partisan Democrats in Congress to impeach Biden's Oval Office predecessor, Donald Trump. The call also raised serious questions about the extent to which Biden was aware of the catastrophe that would unfold by sticking to an August 31st withdrawal deadline that has now cost untold losses in U.S. blood and treasure, while leading to a demoralizing defeat on the global stage at the hands of the terrorist-friendly Taliban. Reuters was able to obtain and review a transcript of a 14-minute call with then-President Ashraf Ghani 3 weeks before Ghani reportedly fled the presidential palace with a carload of cash as the Taliban forces closed in. There was like a money trail all the way to where he left. Boy, he's living it up, I bet, right now. The left-leaning Global News Service claimed that neither Biden nor Ghani appeared aware of or prepared for the immediate danger of the entire country falling apart to insurgents, according to the report. However, Biden does admit during the call that he knows things are not going to go well on the ground. Hey, look, I want to make it clear, I'm not a military man any more than you are. That's for sure. But I have been meeting with our Pentagon folks and our national security people as you have with yours. And as you know, I need not tell you the perception around the world and in parts of Afghanistan, I believe, is that things aren't going to go well in terms of the fight against the Taliban. Despite that awareness, Biden continued to reassure the public for weeks to come that the Afghan military was prepared and that it would be a seamless transition. Ostensibly, based on that assumption, the U.S. left more than $60 billion in high-tech military equipment for the defending army. On Tuesday, Taliban soldiers now in possession of that equipment appeared to use a U.S. Black Hawk helicopter to patrol the city of Kabul with a man's corpse hanging from it. Biden's inflection, an important nuance in national security phone calls, according to disgraced Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vidman and other anti-Trump impeachment witnesses, suggests that he was encouraging Ghani to lie about the situation at hand in his determination to go forward with the withdrawal. There's a need, whether it's true or not, there is a need to project a different picture, Biden told Ghani solicitously. Biden also misled Gandhi into a false sense of security, appearing to tell him that the U.S. intended to hold Bagram airfield and provide air support for the Afghan military. But as the Taliban closed in, U.S. forces deserted the base in the middle of the night, leaving the demoralized Afghan forces on their own. Biden again delivered his signature brand of hollow flattery to encourage Ghani to change his own perception about the impending disaster. Excuse me. Though I know this is presumptuous of me, on one hand, to say such things so directly to you, I have known you for a long while. I find you a brilliant and honorable man, he said. But I really think I don't know whether you're aware just how much the perception around the world is that it's looking like a losing proposition, he added. Gandhi responded with concern for an imbalance in the military dynamic, suggesting that the U.S. might have gone behind its back in declaring a ceasefire with the Taliban. There are agreements with the Taliban that we are not previously aware of, and because your Air Force is extremely cautious in attacking them, the urban resistance, Mr. President, is being extraordinary. There are cities that have taken a siege of 55 days and that have not surrendered. While the two appear to be close on cordial note, some were calling for the same sort of hyper scrutiny that accompanied Trump's July 2019 to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Okay. Everything Joe Biden and his loyalist military brass have been solemnly telling us about Afghanistan from behind official-looking podiums have been demonstrable lies, wrote the Clash Daily. But everything we mean, everything right down to the but and the and, even the commands are questionable. Ironically, the word of Biden's phone call came on the day that he himself was sent to meet with the Ukrainian president to discuss issues of national security and energy security. Trump was impeached for asking Zelensky to investigate the Biden family's business dealings. But the political will to impeach Biden for a far more justified cause is his intentional bungling of the withdrawal from a 20-year war, which led to further bloodshed, may fall short on both ends. Well, yeah, duh. Democrats who face an evenly split Senate may have little interest in falling in line with an impeachment, which would effectively end their majority if tie-breaking vote Kamala Harris were elevated to the top office. Nobody ever has lost the presidency. What's up, Tony? Poppycock? That's a fun word. That is a fun word. I'm going to try to put that on a t-shirt. Republicans likewise have an interest in preserving Biden for political reasons and because his successor might even be a worse leader. That is kind of true. Like if we impeached Biden and we got Harris, that would suck. That would suck. If both Biden and Harris were somehow to be removed from office, third in line would be Nancy Pelosi, which could find some Americans desperately fleeing the U.S. to take their chances in Kabul. That might be opinion, but that's hilarious. Majority vote in Congress first and then the Senate to finish it. Okay, so it does have to go to the House and the Senate. All right. Thank you very much for that, Jupiter 5. Just got done fishing. Sweet. Did you catch anything? What were you fishing for? Got to clean them now. Got to go clean them now. Oh, okay, well, then you're already gone. Well, when he comes back, if he comes back, ask him what he caught. I'm curious. Probably catfish. I would imagine, but I don't know. Biden lies during Afghanistan victory lap gets fact-checked by the AP. Let's see how far out. Nope. While attempting to take a victory lap over his Afghanistan withdrawal on Tuesday, President Biden glossed over his broken promise to keep U.S. troops there until the last Americans were out. Biden's speeches, laden with blatant mistruths and duplicitous claims, have become a regular fixture in the fiasco since the fiasco began, despite having maintained a long-running media aloofness for months prior. His earlier pledge to keep Americans abroad safe no matter what, now seems to have been memory hold. With the Biden administration itself acknowledging hundreds have been left behind, and other reliable sources projecting the actual number could be thousands of U.S. citizens and green card holders unable to flee the Taliban's rule. The president vaguely assured the potential hostages that they were free to leave at any time, even without the military presence to support them. For those remaining Americans, there is no deadline, he said. We remain committed to get them out if they want to come. That's right. And if they don't want to come, then that's on them, right? They decided to stay on their own. He added, Secretary of State Blinken is leading the continued diplomatic efforts to ensure safe passage for any American, Afghan partner, or foreign national who wants to leave Afghanistan. If they actually let the people leave that want to leave, that means we have signed a deal saying that we will go ahead and acknowledge them as the rulers of Afghanistan, giving them legitimacy, which is disgusting. But its forces withdrawn, the U.S. is left with only diplomatic persuasion instead of military muscle to get the Islamic extremists who have been fighting the U.S. for 20 years to give remaining Americans safe passage out. Meanwhile, public confidence in both Defense and State Department bureaucracies is fast eroding as leaders find themselves being repeatedly caught in lies to cover up their scandalous mismanagement of the withdrawal. Nobody wants to take blame. That's the problem. A lot of things went wrong. Nobody wants to admit that. So they have to keep lying about how bad it is so that nobody has to say that it was their fault. But rather than trying to streamline the process that led to a historic policy failure, Biden has made it clear to the most that the chaotic disarray is flowing from the top downward. Yeah. So-called commander-in-chief has done anything but for the vast majority of concerned Americans, including many of the Gold Star families whose children, spouses, and parents were sacrificed in last week's suicide bombing. Biden has generally appeared detached and deflective, with some even describing his lack of empathy as callous. Tuesday's victory lap, which called to mind the premature mission accomplished of George Bush, was no exception. There is actually video of him looking at his watch, by the way, at one of these events. Like, he didn't want to be there, and he kept looking at his watch. Can you believe that? The bottom line, 90% of Americans in Afghanistan who want to leave were able to leave, Biden claimed. The goalpost moving claim, however, triggered even the left-leaning Biden-loving Associated Press to throw down a fact check. For the record, Biden vowed that he would get 100% of Americans out before withdrawing forces, the AP wrote. And his suggestions Tuesday that many of the remaining Americans are dual nationals who may be undecided about leaving do not reflect the full reality. While evidence on the ground in Kabul suggests a broad swath of Americans, including tourists, were among those abandoned by the Democratic leadership after having been turned away at the airport, Biden claimed otherwise. Who in their fucking right mind goes to Afghanistan on a vacation? You're a tourist? Seriously? Most of those who remain are dual citizens, longtime residents, but earlier decided to stay because of their family roots in Afghanistan, he said. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki attempted to clarify afterward that Biden was telling those people that if they decided in 2 weeks that they want to go, we'll get you out. The AP used unusually sharp phrasing to contradict Biden and his propaganda minister. Those comments may understate the desperation of Americans trapped in Afghanistan, it said, noting that even the top general overseeing the mission had said otherwise just the day before. General Frank McKenzie, head of the U.S. Central Command, said Monday that Americans tried to get to the Kabul airport for their final evacuations, but couldn't. McKenzie, who also admitted in a press conference on Monday that no Americans were on the last 5 jets to leave. We maintain the ability to bring them in up until immediately before departure, but we are not able to bring any Americans out, he said. That actively ended probably about 12 hours before an exit, although we continued the outreach and would have been prepared to bring them on until the very last minute, he added, but none of them made it to the airport and we were unable to accommodate. Biden told ABC unequivocally on August 19th that the U.S. would not leave any Americans stranded. Americans understand we're going to get them out and get things done before August 31st, Biden said then. If we don't, we'll determine at the time who's left. And then, if there are American citizens left, we're going to stay until we get them all out. Yeah, that's what he said last month. He echoed those remarks in a speech to the American public following day, saying simply, we will get you home. But as the last U.S. planes took off from the airport Monday night, 1 minute before midnight in Kabul, U.S. officials acknowledged up to 200 Americans were left behind, along with unknown numbers of Afghanistans and others who were trying to frantically to leave. More than 100,000 people, mostly Afghans, have been flown to safety in multinational evacuations. Now that has become a matter for diplomacy, said the AP. U.S. official says diplomats are in talk with neighboring countries and others to try to arrange non-U.S. military evacuations for those remaining. Among the options, if diplomacy works, are potential charter flights from the airport when it reopens and overland routes. All right, let's look at this.
But first, to the utterly deplorable and inept US president whose mental decline can no longer be ignored. Not by the Democrats, not by his handlers, and not even by his media allies who steadfast refused to cover his cognitive issues during the election campaign. Not only did they fail to cover it, they attacked those who did. Anyone who has observed Joe Biden in recent years could attest to his cognitive decline, his incoherent rants, his inability to answer the simplest of softball questions, his incidents of irrational anger, and his general confused state. This is a man who has been in public life for decades. He used to be an elegant, authoritative speaker. This is what we get now.
And the beautiful story of the friendship between our two nations, the United States of America and the Jewish and Democratic State of Israel.
I'm not suggesting he was snoozing, just being inattentive and fatigued, possibly. He certainly seemed inattentive and fatigued when he fronted the media following the suicide bombing that killed dozens of Afghans and 13 US service members.
If Trump and Biden ran again,
may God bless you all, and may God protect his troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast.
This sort of performance is nothing new. Remember, he spent most of the election campaign hiding in his house and was ranting about corn pop and his hairy legs way back in 2017.
I got hairy legs that turn, that turn.
Don't let him speak freely to the media. It's clear that the leader of the free world isn't even free to decide when to answer questions. He is told who to call upon and when.
They gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
He can't even call on his own press people.
Again today, we heard this from the president.
I'm not supposed to take any questions, but go ahead.
Mr. President, on Afghanistan.
No, I'm not going to answer Afghanistan now.
Can you just still
okay.
Walk away, Joe. That's what he's going to be known for, walking away. He is refusing to answer questions about the biggest, most consequential issue of the week, of the month, possibly of the year, even bigger than the
Maybe
hurricane.
20 years?
They impeached Trump, well, for being Trump. How many monumental screw-ups will Biden oversee before he is impeached?
Well, as I said, I don't really know if I agree with impeachment. I don't really know if there's any way out as far as that goes. Afghanistan is not your first on the list to travel abroad, Riddle. I hear it's a lot like Arizona as far as the weather. They even have haboobs there. All right. U.S. may continue to collaborate with Taliban amid ISIS resurgence. Okay. General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, said Wednesday that it is possible that the U.S. will have to coordinate with the Taliban on any future counterterrorism strikes in Afghanistan against Islamic State militants or others. The Taliban, said Milley, is a ruthless group, and whether or not they change remains to be seen. Okay. He added, Milley said that the Taliban is a ruthless group. He added, in war, you do what you must in order to reduce risk to mission and force, not what you necessarily want to do. But apparently I did hear from, I think it was somebody in government that said, gotten the question about, do you guys still not negotiate with terrorists? And they're like, yeah, we don't negotiate with terrorists. And that was their official response. So good news, everybody. America doesn't negotiate with terrorists. They gave you a list. They told me not to take any questions. Who is they? Exactly. The people running the damn country. That's who they are. Speaking 2 days after the final U.S. troops left Afghanistan and at the close of a turbulent and deadly evacuation of more than 124,000 American citizens, Afghans, and other Milley and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told Pentagon reporters that it's hard to predict the future of the Taliban in Afghanistan. Not really. They're going to rule it for a long time, I think. Somebody was saying that there might be a civil war in Afghanistan. I doubt it. The Taliban has all the equipment. I would not make any leaps of logic to broader issues, said Austin. Both men commanded troops in Afghanistan during the 20-year war, and their comments on Wednesday largely focused on tributes to those who served and died and who were wounded in the conflict, and to those who were executed. The complex airlift exited over the past 3 weeks. However, many of the veterans of Afghanistan, as well as Gold Star families who had lost a loved one, slammed the idea that a longtime enemy that provided safe harbor for terrorism had suddenly become America's top strategic partner in the region. That's by design. We're working with them. We're legitimizing them and the whole bit. With the U.S. involvement in the war over and all American military out of the country, President Biden is grappling with the prospects of a new relationship with the Taliban. Biden has tasked Secretary of State Blinken with coordinating the international partners to hold the Taliban to their promise of safe passage for all Americans and others who want to leave in the days ahead. Marine General Frank McKenzie, head of the U.S. Central Command, has described the U.S. relationship with the Taliban during the evacuation as very pragmatic and very businesslike, saying they helped secure the airport. But visual evidence and reports from people in Afghanistan describe shootings, violence, and Taliban moves to block desperate Afghans from getting through the gates. Well, they already know that if they don't get through, then they decided to stay on their own. A viral video tweeted by the Taliban's propaganda wing this week, which is amazing, they're still on Twitter, showed a formerly U.S.-owned Black Hawk helicopter patrolling the capital city of Kabul with a man's... How is that not against TOS? So they put that on Twitter? The Taliban posted their helicopter parading around a dead body through the skies, and that's okay against Twitter's TOS. Just so y'all know, you can murder somebody and dangle them and post it on Twitter. You will not get your Twitter account taken down. Well, that's good to know. Biden has faced tough questions about the way the U.S. went about leaving Afghanistan, a chaotic evacuation with spasms of violence, including a suicide bombing last week, killed 13 Americans, service members, and 169 Afghans. Congressional committees whose interest in the war waned over the years are expected to hold public hearings about what went wrong. What went wrong in the final months of the U.S. withdrawal. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday described the Biden administration handling of the evacuation as probably the biggest failure in American government on a military stage in my lifetime, and promised Republicans would press the White House for answers. Will they? Well, look who's actually acting presidential. Seriously, with all the rallies, the press conferences, all the shit that Trump is doing, he is definitely trying to stay in the limelight and still look presidential. Maybe because he has decided to rerun in 2024. That would be interesting. But he's over there comforting Gold Star mother. Although former President Trump may not be getting the treatment of a duly elected leader, there is little doubt for Chanel Chapel who the true comforter-in-chief is. The non-ironic application of the label to Joe Biden in the face of one mishandled, self-inflicted catastrophe after another, an equally callous response has led to many to cringe. Every indication is that after getting caught repeatedly checking his watch at a Solomon ceremony Sunday for 13 fallen U.S. service members, Biden's meetings with Gold Star families went even worse. Anybody not see that footage of him checking his watch like repeatedly at this service for the 13 U.S. service members who died? Because if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. That is going to infuriate you. Trump stepped into the task with a moving statement that expressed his compassion and solidarity for Chapel and other families of the Kabul suicide bombing. Chapel, the mother of the Marine Lance Corporal Kareem Nikui, first got attention after her incendiary yet heartfelt post resulted in a ban on Facebook and Instagram, the Gateway pundit reported. That's okay. They reinstated her after a whole bunch of backlash. After public outrage led to her being reinstated, she posted a poignant, albeit profanity-laced letter in which she relayed her sickening exchange with the Biden at the ceremony on Sunday. You then said, "You just want me to know that you know how I feel, and I let you know that you don't know how I feel, and you don't have the right to tell me you know how I feel. You then rolled your fucking eyes in your head like you were annoyed with me, and I let you know that the only reason I was talking to you was out of respect for my son. And that was the only reason why. And then I proceeded to tell you again how you took my son away from me and how I will never get to hug him, kiss him, laugh with him again. You turned to walk away and I let you know my son's blood was on your hands and threw your hands up behind you as you walked away from me like you were saying, okay, whatever." Wow. Chapel also promised to visit Biden again in the near future to protest. Interesting. You will be seeing me again very soon. By the way, as my son and the rest of our fallen heroes will be taken off the plane yesterday, I watched you disrespect all of us 5 different times by checking your watch. The fuck is so important that you had to keep looking at your watch? You're nobody special, Biden. America hates you. Holy shit. Trump issued his own statement in response to the open letter, saying that everything to her that Biden failed to say. Shanna, you're 100% correct. If I was president, your wonderful and beautiful son, Kareem, would be with you now. And so would the sons and daughters of others, including all of those who died in the vicious Kabul airport attack. Civilians should have been brought out first, along with $85 billion worth of equipment, with the military coming out very safely after all was clear. I love you, and I love Kareem. Chapel's account is one of several stories emerging from the ceremony that reveals some of the parents' anguish and their willingness to convey it to Biden in no uncertain terms. Mark Schmitz, the father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, told Fox News' Sean Hannity that he also had confronted Biden during the awkward meeting. Another parent, Darren Hoover, the father of Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover, refused to meet with the president, and Kathy McComb, the mother of Riley McComb, called in a radio show with some choice words for Biden. That reminds me, I think it was on Mark Dice. Maybe? No.
The mother of one of the 13 American soldiers killed in Afghanistan due to the Biden administration's incompetent withdrawal was completely banned from Instagram after she posted a tribute to her son, detailing his service and his bravery, and also included that his life was cut short because of Biden's incompetence. 20-year-old Kareem Nikui, who had just been born when the U.S. invaded Afghanistan in 2001, whose mother's grief is now compounded not only by the loss of her son by this disastrous withdrawal, but Instagram doesn't like what she has to say about it. She did what you're not allowed to do in communist-controlled countries. She questioned the legitimacy of their leader, which, as you know, is a violation of the terms of service on the big tech platforms today. Of course, this despicable act of censorship made headlines across the country, and so Instagram reinstated her account and said that it was banned just by mistake. It's always just a mistake. If anybody has a case for inflicting emotional distress, it's her. And so I hope that she sues. Of course, old Joe is too busy checking his watch to see what time ice cream break is to care about any of this. In other censorship news, the Gingers Do Have Souls kid is all grown up now.
All right, that guy got banned too for doing some sort of trolly shit, but I'm going to leave it at that. Bikes and Bullets is heading out. See you later, Bikes. Gerald, if they impeach Biden, then that gives us Harris. Don't think she's any better. She was the first Dem to drop out of the denom for president. She had no support. Well, that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, right? So, like, let's say Biden got impeached right before 2024, like a year before the next election for president, and then it was Kamala. There ain't no way. I mean, you could have Sarah Palin run against Kamala and beat her bad. I mean, depends on if they get the voting shit figured out, obviously. Budget revealed in Wisconsin's audit probe to focus on forensic data analysis. Nearly half of the $676,000 budgeted for an independent forensic audit of Wisconsin's 2020 November event is earmarked for data analysis, and contract released Wednesday shows. The Associated Press obtained the contract entered into by Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Michael Gaberman, who is leading the probe under the state open record law. It shows that $325,000 is set aside for data analysis contractor, indicating that the investigation will likely focus on an examination of ballots and voting machines. It is also set aside $25,000 each for the hiring of 5 investigators. Gableman is to be paid $55,000 over the life of the contract, which runs from August 1st through the end of the year. There are also $15,000 earmarked for communications, $50,000 for attorney fees, and $25,000 for travel, and $50,000 for court reporting. Wow, that costs a lot to report to the court. The contract calls for using taxpayer money on the probe, not campaign donations or other funds, as well as was done in Arizona's recent audit of Maricopa County. Really? So Arizona's audit is being paid for by campaign donations or other funds. Interesting. Republicans are moving ahead with the investigation in the battleground state. President Biden won by fewer than 21,000 votes over then former President Trump. Trump met with Voss last week and encouraged the probe. It is also has the backing of other Republicans in the state, including U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, who is up for re-election next year. But Johnson is one of the most outspoken supporters in the Senate of Trump's America First agenda, which is surprisingly reluctant to criticize the electoral process. He is reluctant to criticize it. Despite clear evidence from Milwaukee of a bizarre late-night bump for Biden after the polls had presumably closed on November 3rd, we all remember the bump, don't we? Johnson said Sunday that there was nothing obviously skewed about the results in Wisconsin, while also supporting the investigation. Boy, he's covering both sides of it. He's a politician. That's exactly what he is. He made his comments to a liberal activist from a web-based program, The Undercurrent, and a member of Democratic Partners, a group aligned with Democrats. Yeah, so he's covered either way. Well, you know, if it comes out that, yeah, there was something, well, that's why I supported it. Or if it comes out that there's nothing there, he's like, well, I never really supported it anyway. I mean, I wanted them to do it, you know, that and show their true colors, but just like I thought, there was nothing there. Wow. Ron Johnson blames Trump for losing Wisconsin in 2020 and tells me there's nothing obviously skewed about the results. Huh.
You know that Joe Biden didn't win this election. I mean, in my heart of hearts.
I'm not going to listen to that. That's a lot of noise. Johnson said that he did not support focusing on voting machines, as some conservatives have called for. Gableman has said that reviewing the voting machines will be one of his priorities for the investigation. Republicans have questioned numerous aspects of last November, but to date, only 2 people out of 3.3 million votes cast in Wisconsin have been charged with election darfing. The Gableman investigation is in addition to be underway by the nonpartisan Legislative Audit Bureau. That review was also ordered by Republicans. Both are expected to be done by the fall, but the effort was sure to meet similar resistance as other GOP-led attempts to shine light on the process have done. Despite the unprecedented nature of the pandemic-era election, which saw Democrat officials ignoring state laws and relaxing many of the common sense rules for receiving ballots, many on the left have been adamant that it was the most secure and accurate election in our history and bore no deeper examination than their assurances. Dane County Clerk Scott McDonnell, the chief election official in the state's second largest county, said he wasn't sure what the investigation would entail or exactly what data analysis even meant. Well, that's good. That's who you want to be worried about it. The county, which encompasses the far-left college city of Madison, already underwent a recount, as did Milwaukee, although neither produced evidence to support concerns over altered tallies. Instead, the current audits will focus on scrutinizing whether the votes themselves were legitimate. But McDonnell vowed to fight the audit effort, echoing the claims of Arizona leftists that an examination of the equipment could introduce new vulnerabilities into the process. Well, if you find vulnerabilities, that would be a perfect time during non-election year to find them so that you could correct them for the next one. The machines, they need to be protected. They are critical infrastructure as defined by Homeland Security. Bullshit. We've been voting for 200 years without machines. We don't need them that much. All they need to do is count the vote and make a printed copy of it and document it. It's not that freaking hard. They shouldn't ever be hooked up to Wi-Fi, so they shouldn't be hackable, right? But why? But they do hook up to Wi-Fi. Why? I don't know. The machines that need to be protected, there is no way we're going to compromise the security of our election and void the warranties on our machines, he continued. It's not going to happen unless the court orders it. Well, I hope the court orders it. All right, I saw my chat lighten up a little bit. Harris might get in by this New Year's Eve if they push it. That'd be something else. What's up, Anonymous? How you doing? The plan has always been let Biden F up by choice. Then Harris is to get 2 years as president. She will get the full 2 years, we shall see, but Harris gets just 1 year. Okay. She will build something back better, nulled, 100 times faster because she has nothing to lose. Yeah. Hope is more than packets. Once the people paying for America realize that they could push Harris in, they want to Biden for an easy bait and switch. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know if I buy into it 100%, but I mean, I understand why you think that, and I don't disagree with it. Let's just put it that way. Gerald, that is the plan. Give her 2 years to do 4 years of damage fast. Hell, in 8 months, Biden has done more than 4 years. Biden has done a lot in the few months that he's been in there, but luckily he's having to worry about Afghanistan a lot right now, which is probably keeping him preoccupied and away from the press as much. Gerald Harris will be far worse. Look around at her record, what she ran on, what she believes, and who's paying for her campaign. Yeah, she's the scapegoat for an economy collapse. Wow. That's a good insight, man. You're watching good shit, or you're learning good shit. Yeah. We all know it's coming at some point. You can't be printing trillions and trillions of dollars for infrastructure and only like 10-15% of it goes for the infrastructure. And then the rest goes to all your pet projects. I mean, they're already talking about more trillions of dollars for something else. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember hearing it last night that they're trying to get more spending, more trillions of dollars of spending approved right now. Like, stop. You can't just print all that. All right, so now we're getting on to some of the stories that were recommended that I do on my Discord channel. So if you're not a member of the Discord, become a member of the Discord. If you got a story for me to look at, I will do that if I have time, which I don't really have a lot of time, but I like to do these anyway because I like the interaction. And this one was suggested by Riddle, I believe. FBI examining 100 million tax refund push by Governor Ducey staffers after Arizona Republican investigation. The FBI Public Corruption Unit is investigating efforts by Arizona Governor Ducey, past and current staffers, including one who is now a federal judge, to push for a closed-door deal to issue tax refunds worth as much as $100 million to aid one of Ducey's campaign supporters. Grant Newell, former deputy director at the Department of Revenue, said an FBI agent contacted him in mid-July shortly after an Arizona Republican investigation uncovered how the Ducey administration had pushed the department to agree to a refund sales tax on fuel for mining companies, even though that tax had been in place for decades. The companies that stood to benefit were represented by Texas tax firm Ryan LLC, founded by Ducey supporter G. Brent Ryan. The top 3 deputies in Ducey's administration left their government jobs and went to work for Ryan to push for the tax refund. Uh-oh. The investigation untangling Governor Doug Ducey's complex network of interest. The men and others working for Ducey met with the revenue officials at least 16 times to insist that the department, which was under their oversight in the governor's office, agreed to stop opposing Ryan and issue a tax refund to one fuel company. That official said would have triggered refunds in all other similar cases, costing the state's general fund more than $100 million. Knoll, who, along with ex-revenue director Carlton Woodruff, opposed the giveaway, succeeded when an appellate court ruled in their favor and opposed the tax refund claims. Ducey later fired both men. Newell said in a phone interview that an FBI agent had called to check on the safety of him and his family. The agent from the Public Corruption Unit Phoenix office wanted to know if Newell had received any threats after the series was published. Newell said he told the agent that he was fine, but said the call concerned him. Newell, who moved his family out of the state, also told the Republic for the first time that the FBI had interviewed him several times in May regarding the refund campaign. They are investigating the whole situation, but I don't know what they have, Newell said. I do know I have zero plans to ever come back to Arizona, but if I was to become a witness, I'd be on the first plane back to Phoenix. Wow. FBI spokeswoman Brooke Bennon said on Monday, as a matter of course, the FBI does not confirm or deny the existence of the investigation. Brennan did not answer as whether the agency had sought records from the governor's office or the Revenue Department. What the Republic investigation found. The Republic spent more than 6 months poring over more than 3,500 pages of court records, financial reports, internal emails, as well as scribbled sign-in logs, travel records, and calendar entries from 3 state offices. The investigation examined how the state conflicted of interest law requires a 1-year waiting period before representing a private business in front of a state government. The administration said that the law did not apply to Ducey's aides because they didn't work for the Revenue Department. Instead, they helped oversee it. The investigation also examined how G. Ryan, a major GOP contributor, and his firm used insiders to gain access to Ducey to try not to get what Ryan wanted, and how the Texas millionaire could help Ducey political ambition. Ryan could not be reached Monday. Ducey, who now leads the Republican Governors Association, has been on constant critic of President Biden. On Tuesday, he said that he knew of no FBI investigation. Our office has not been contacted. I have complete faith in my team. They have got the highest standards of ethical and legal standard, and I'm not concerned at the least. Ducey told reporters speaking on an American Legion convention at the Phoenix Convention Center. Public corruption difficult to prove. So they're coming after Ducey. If he did it, I want him to be taken out. I'm not going to read that whole story. That's a long fucking story. But that tells you right there that, I mean, Arizona's audit, they've been going after that for a long time. So are they going after Ducey for that? Or did he actually do some shady shit? That's the question. Because both sides will do the shady shit, and we all know that. The economy is shit now. If we make it to spring, I'd be amazed. I think we'll make it this. I don't know. I can't. I follow money. Harris is corrupt as the Clintons, but with less death. So far, she just opened her legs. Yeah. Incarceration rate of Harris is astronomical. She brags how she kept low misdemeanor people in jail for years. She will again abuse the prison complex label in prison patriots. Look how she view. Yeah. Well, the people that are already in jail for what happened on the 6th in January, they ain't ever getting out. I mean, they might get out eventually, but they're going to be in there a long fucking time. Trial begins Wednesday in the case against the Backpage.com founders. If you didn't know about Backpage, I had no idea that they were doing trafficking or anything else illegal. I used Backpage a lot. It was a great place to use to buy and sell guns locally. I would make a post of a gun that I have available and somebody would respond. It was great. You know, you can't do it on Craigslist. You can't do it on Let's Go, but I could do it on Backpage, right? And now they have a Backpage gun, like somebody started up Backpage Firearms or some shit like that. Not nearly as popular, obviously, without the, the trafficking aspect. But this one does kind of hit close to home just because I did use this site quite a bit. I hate to admit to that. She wants them to be labeled terrorists. The Freedom Act now allows the government to detain and imprison suspected terrorists indefinitely without trial. She will use that. Yeah, we've been preaching that since before Trump. I think back when Obama was in office, right? That they could just keep you indefinitely. The founders, wow, this is a Phoenix story. Are they from Arizona, I wonder? The founders of the website Backpage.com face charges of facilitating prostitution and money laundering. Jury selection is going to begin on Wednesday, but a recent federal government report on online sex trafficking indicates that taking down the website has made it more difficult for investigators and prosecutors to track down and arrest sex traffickers. Well, that sucks, right? Apparently, they were able to track you down and arrest you if you were doing shady shit. And now that site's gone, they went somewhere else, to the dark web or something. I don't know. Michael Lacey and James Larkin are the former owners of the Phoenix New Times and 16 other alt-weekly newspapers. The two started Backpage.com as an effort to recapture some of the Craigslist ad revenue that had been lost due to Craigslist, but it was Backpage adult section that caught the attention of state and federal prosecutors. I didn't even know they had an adult section, to be honest. Lacey and Larkin were arrested in California in 2016 on state charges of conspiring to commit the crime of pimping. Well, pimping ain't easy. That case was dismissed. But in April 2018, FBI agents arrested Lacey and Larkin on the current federal charges. At that time, the federal government shut down the website. John and Cindy McCain applauded the arrest of Backpage.com CEO. Definitely the toughest fight of their life, no doubt about that, said Stephen Lemons, a freelance journalist who writes and edits Front Page Confidential, who is owned by Lacey and Larkin. Lemons is not a spokesperson for the defendants, but he does point out that the men have received commendations from the Justice Department in the past for their cooperation in sex trafficking. Well, that, to me, seems like they knew it was going on their site, and they were helping the Justice Department to fight it. Second of all, they should be covered under Section 230, saying that anything that's illegal that goes on their website is not on them because they're not a publisher, or they're not an editor, they're just a publisher or something to that effect, right? They did cooperate with law enforcement when they were trying to find trafficked children or trafficked women. When actual sex traffickers were being prosecuted, the executives testified in court against the sex traffickers. Well, sounds like they were helping. A report released in June by the Government Accountability Office indicates that Backpage was a useful tool for federal investigators and that taking it down has made it more difficult to track and prosecute online sex traffickers. The FBI's ability to locate and identify sex trafficking victims and perpetrators was significantly decreased following the takedown of Backpage. According to FBI officials, this was largely because law enforcement was familiar with the Backpage.com, and Backpage.com was generally responsive to legal requests for information. Read the GAO report titled Sex Trafficking Online Platforms. Okay. Even some advocates for trafficked women and children admit it has become more difficult to track victims, although they disagree about whether Lacey and Larkin should still be prosecuted. I do agree that once we lost that centralized marketplace, that market kind of fractured, and so there's a lot of pop-up sites, and so people are all over the place. somebody in Arizona said. But Sutherland believes society is better off without Backpage. I don't think sex trafficking kids falls under free speech. No, it doesn't. But it does fall under Section 230. You shouldn't be able to go after the website for something somebody else was doing. They just had a tab for adult stuff. Shit. There's a lot of places that have tabs for adult stuff. You can go online and get a call girl easy. There's plenty of sites that'll do that. They're even fucking verified that they're legit kind of people and shit. You have OnlyFans, which I'm sure there's a contact thing where if you pay a lot of money, you could probably even do other things, right? I don't know. Anyway, they don't think it falls under free speech, and people can disagree with me on that, but when you're facilitating that crime, you should pay that price. Lemons disagree. He argues that the government should not be in the business of shutting down web platforms. I think that people should think about the problem with the U.S. government coming and taking over an entire website and crushing it. And yeah, that was speech. It may not be the speech you like, but nevertheless, it is speech, said Lemons. I agree with Lemons. This was given to me by Irish USMC vet. You have to apply to Section 230 and be approved? Fuck that shit. If they are a 230 site, they are liable. What? You think that and I don't know if they had Section 230 or not. I would have thought they did. I thought pretty much anybody that had a website kind of was, but that's my own ignorance. But you're saying that if they are a Section 230 site, they're still liable? Or yeah, okay, they aren't. Yeah, they shouldn't be. They provided a platform for people to do shit legally. And some people did shit illegally, just like in everyday life everywhere else. You know what? Walmart, the CEOs of Walmart should be sued then for all the child traffickers who go into Walmart with their victim and leave without being arrested. They're facilitating by giving the person who abducted that child fucking macaroni and cheese and tire patch kits for his bicycle, and then he left without being arrested. That's about the same ridiculousness. HR 5123, American Freedom and Internet Access Act of 2021. This bill is the first stage of the legislative process. It was introduced into Congress on August 27, 2021. It will typically be considered by a committee next before it's possibly sent to the House or the Senate as a whole. Other activity may have occurred on another bill with identical or similar provisions. Okay. A bill... doesn't really say much about it, does it? All right, let's read the text. Miss Salazar, for herself, Mr. Waltz, yada, 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 all these people. Okay, to direct Secretary of the Air Force to develop and begin implementation of Operation Starfall. This act may be cited as the American Freedom and Internet Access Act of 2021. Not later than 45 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Secretary of the Air Force, in consultation with the Chief of Space Operations, shall develop and begin implementation of Operation Starfall, a strategic plan to deploy stratospheric balloons, aerostats, or satellite technology capable of rapidly delivering wireless internet anywhere on the planet from the stratosphere or higher. Well, now I won't have to worry about, hey, Riddle, if this happens quickly, you're good to go on the trip with me, because then you'll have internet access the whole way. Right. So keep that on your radar. All right. That's it. That's all I got. I'm surprised you have to apply for Section 230. That's news to me. Right. Why can't we sue the CIA for all their... Exactly. How about all... There's so much undeniably guilty under their own admission. But nothing to see here. Look away.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here, please.
I don't know. That back page story is just bizarre. They were helping. I could understand. I really never delved into it too much. I knew why Backpage got taken down. I mean, it was everywhere. Oh, they were doing child trafficking. Well, shit. Damn, I didn't know that. I'm glad they're taken down, I guess. Sucks that I don't have a good place to sell my personal guns anymore or buy personal guns anymore. But, if they're doing that, for sure. But the whole damn time they were helping the Justice Department? Seriously? You were cracking down on that quick. You should have just kept that going. Why they decided to shut it down and try them is beyond me now. Just they get to see all traffic logged into it as well. The stratospheric internet. If it's done by the government, yeah, huh? I guess that would be a way to get rid of the VPNs. They get to see all the traffic logged into it as well. Damn. Well, they're definitely playing a couple moves ahead if that's the case. I don't know much about it. That's just what Irish sent me. Interesting, very interesting. Well, let's see if I can find a video real quick on YouTube. Yeah, let's 2 minute and 36-second video.
Everyone, I hope everyone is doing well today and is off to a great start and is awakened to reality. If not, I'm here to help. Not too sure if anybody else is hearing chatter about this Operation Starfall, that the Congress.gov has a bill that has been introduced, and it is
better start learning
right
how
now
to work
it's
the
at the
world
House
without
Committee
internet.
on Armed Services, and it is to direct the Secretary of Air Force to develop and begin implementation of Operation Starfall. So, to begin implementation. So, to me, that makes me think that they already have something, on in the books in regards to this. But I can't find anything in regards to this. The only thing that I can find, and there's no text, there's no nothing, which is really interesting, but the only thing that I can find is that there's an RPG game out.
A role-playing game?
Called Operation Starfall. And it is, the summary is, Doc Terror's evil cyborg minion, Linux, attacks a lunar station with a Legion of Terror's fleet and makes preparation to project an asteroid into Earth unless Terror's demand of surrender are met.
That she got off on a video game. Yeah, there's not much on that. But if they control the internet connection worldwide, well, I don't know if it'd be, well, I guess it would be worldwide if they're doing it all around. They can cut it off worldwide and censor it worldwide. Yeah. Remember, free equals slavery. Yeah. Free healthcare, free all that stuff, just slavery, right? I don't know if we'll ever have a one world government. I know they're gonna try. But damn. That's a good story. Thank you very much to Irish for that one. If you guys have any more information on HR 5123, hit me up on the Discord with it. But I'm out of here for tonight. So if it's the first time watching my channel, make sure you check out the descriptions. We have a lot of good links in there. All the places you can follow me on, because if I get a strike on YouTube, I'll be on a different platform or whatever. This is my secondary channel. My original channel is linked down there. So if you're not a subscriber to the original channel, go down there, find Poison Stinger with no number, and subscribe to that. I'm also on DLive currently, and my Discord. Discord's a great place to share stories and other shit of maybe how to go about living in a world without internet access. That'll be interesting. The Bible says it. The Bible says there will never be another one world government. It says that they will try to make a one world government, but it will not accomplish. They will not be able to accomplish it. That's what the Bible has to say about that. Night, brothers and sisters. Yep. See you later, Anonymous. Also down there is all the ways you can donate to the channel if you want to do that. If you do decide to donate to the channel, thank you very much for doing it. But just know that 50% of it goes to Rally Point Irish, which is a cause I believe in and support, also found in the descriptions down below. That is my good friend Irish starting up a GoFundMe to provide housing and food and knowledge to veterans and into things like blacksmithing, gunsmithing, and farming. So getting them back into the workforce. It sounds like it seems like it's a really cool idea, and I would love to see it done. So that's why I donate 50% of all proceeds from this channel to that. There are also some other causes I believe in and support, including PH Association, which is a disease that I currently live with. It will most likely kill me. My doctor, I can't wait to talk to my doctor. My doctor is like, well, they'll probably find a cure before you need it. No, they're never going to find a cure. Not when I'm paying $18,000. Well, I'm not personally paying $18,000. When my insurance is paying $18,000 a month to keep me alive, and that'll keep me alive for more than 20 years. That's a paycheck and a half. Shit, I wouldn't want to look for a cure if I was getting paid $18,000 a month for the next 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, make sure to keep your family close. Watch out for that government. Try to live as free as you can. And get ready, man. It's coming. I don't know. It's coming from all angles, is it not? So get prepping. Get finding people. If you haven't found enough people, I don't even look. I'm not even taking my own advice on that because I'm such a closed person. It takes a long time for me to trust somebody enough to be like, able to talk with them freely without having to worry about, like, are they going to rat me out if I tell them something that maybe somebody else wouldn't like. I only have a few of those friends, and most of them are online. So I should probably take my own advice there, though. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Bye.